Alright guys, back with another 1+ year review. This time, amazingly enough, it's taken this long for me to do my rack. So I have a Rogue R3 rack. It has been here for just over 3 years. It is attached to my platform. It is the Infinity line. I have a couple of different attachments for it, but let's get into it. So delivery, everything from Rogue was easy, like always. All the pieces were there. It was in perfect condition, no complaints at all. One thing to note with installing the Infinity line, so let's give you a shot. I bolted mine to my platform, as you can see. The one issue I had was that it wasn't exactly easy for me to get them exactly balanced and the exact right split. I had to keep measuring it and then adjusting it, and because when you set up the two frames and then when you set up the pull-up bar, because they're not connected at all, it wants to kind of bow out or bow in always, because it's only connected up top. That's the only thing to keep to consider. A little frustrating from an installation piece, but once it's done, it's done. So from there, so the Infinity line is their 2x3, so 2x3. If you have the option, I do like the Monster Light for the fact that it is a 3x3. It makes attachments a little bit more potentially multi-purpose, because you can go on either side if you've got the right hole placements. It's not a huge deal. I don't necessarily have any issues with the 2x3 from that stance. Whatever. From there, let's see. I have, can you see the numbers? Kind of. Yeah, okay, there you go. So you can see the numbers up and down. So what I did was, through the bench area, so it's the west side spacing, which is 1 inch, I have letters. And through the rest, so the top and the bottom down here, the 2-inch spacing, I have numbers. I don't know why I chose to do it that way, I just did. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. But those are some basic stickers. It would be great if they offered an option to have numbers built in, but that's what the Monster line is for. You can see I have it on this side as well. That the first time through took me a few hours to do. Since then, it's just been upkeep here and there, which is pretty easy to do. You just make sure that you don't put the J cup on the outside like this, because then it will rub the sticker. You keep it on the inside. The rack, you can probably see, has a little bit of wear and tear going on the inside of the holes. If I took any attempt to clean those out or brush them out, that would go away pretty easy. The rest of the dents and dings and stuff are mostly chalk stains, and the occasional wear and tear down here from things like my bar from when I deadlift, or rubbing up against it with my landmine. So I've done a couple of modifications for my landmine. It's hard to see the little guy. I've got a little rubber washer that I put there to keep that from there. I've got another rubber washer in there to keep that off of there. And that's going to make sure that in theory I no longer have to paint this rack again in any spots. I've moved that landmine like 4 or 5 times. Each time I've then had to turn back around and paint, which is kind of annoying, but that's my own fault because I've moved it so many times. Let's see, the J-cups. So the J-cups are, pretty easy. They're the swinging style. No complaints here. The plastic is still good to go. You still got a pretty decent amount even after 3 years of use. You can see, the occasional scuff here and there. That's because this thing gets used all the time. I'm probably in it. I'm definitely in it every time I bench. I'm definitely in it every time I squat. And I normally deadlifting off of my platform, so I'm probably in it at least 3, if not 4 times a week, and sometimes multiple exercises each day. So lot of use. It comes with the fat pull-up and the skinny, the normal one. I don't do a whole lot of pull-ups myself, but they still come in handy for other things. I've done a couple of other slight DIY items, so I will hang bands from these and use them for crossovers of some kind. Let me back out so you can see both of them. So you can see both, one up there and one up here. You can see, and then that's just tow rope that I then wrapped in electrician's tape, so that way it was black and it matched. I custom painted these J-cups red, just testing out something. I may at some point paint them black back again. I have the safety spotter arms. I actually like these better as safeties inside than I do the pin and pipe, just because they're easier to maneuver. You only have one thing to worry about. On the R3, since it's the smaller spacing between the two uprights as opposed to the R4, it works out perfect. You only have a small gap here, and it's really not that big of a deal, considering how if you were benching, your J-cup would pretty much cover that gap anyway. And then you've got, the plastic for the spotter instead of just a straight pipe. What else do we got here? So I've got my rings. I hang them off. Nothing crazy. One of my favorite parts of the R3, the band pegs, the fact that they are adjustable. So that allows me to do all kinds of crazy shit with bands. So I will do, set you down real quick. So I will set up the band pegs. I will put them on the bottom, here, pull or bench, squat. I will do them up here, and I will do reverse work, which is great, shoulders, etc. I will attach them in other areas and do different things, like I've done seated band crossovers. I've had to, when I was rehabbing my hip, I was having a hip shift in the squat. I would set one up, I would lock it in place back here with some other things, and I'd hang a band off and put it around so it would pull me one way. I've been up and down and in and out of with these band pegs, putting them in all the different holes for different adjustments, for different purposes, for different reasons. As opposed to some of the other racks that you see, especially some of the commercial ones that have like 3 band pegs on the bottom and 3 band pegs on the top, done. I like the ability that I can adjust them and move them as I need for various exercises. I can adjust the tension on the bands by putting 2 band pegs up or 1 or whatever, depending on the lift. So, and the bands that I use. Other than that, I mean, the thing's rock solid. One thing I can't comment on, a lot of people buy an R4 or the equivalent sized one because they think, I don't know if it's because they think they need the size or they just want it. Need and want are 2 very different things. Need, again, I've talked in other videos, I'm 6 foot, about 225. I don't need more room. I squat, I deadlift, I bench, I do good mornings, I do Romanian deadlifts, I do everything in here. No issues with banging off of the uprights or anything like that. If you're paying attention, you're good. If you're going from a commercial gym that has a bigger rack to one of these, it may take you a little while to only step back a little bit, as opposed to maybe you're used to a big step. That's really it. If you think you need an R4 or the bigger space, I would question you, unless if you're trying to use multiple athletes at once. So it'd be pretty difficult for me to squat and my wife to bench at the same time. We've done that a couple of times and it's a little wonky. However, if you had an R4, there would be enough space to potentially squat from this side and bench off the front, or bench and bench, something like that. So that's a potential option. That's also one of the other potential nice things about the 3x3 is that you could possibly use all four sides. So another thing to consider. Otherwise, like I said, so the space is perfect. Then it takes up less room, which is nice. If you want the plate storage, that's always an option. I've seen a lot of people be successful with it, some not. It wouldn't work for me because I deadlift in my rack off my platform, so it would be really difficult for me. I'd have to hang the plates off the back, but then they get in the way when I bench, so it's not for me, which is fine. I've got my MaxiCam tree, which I freaking love. Other than that, I mean, if I can improve this rack at all, it would be what the Monster line offers, which is more plastic protection. It's the already drilled members for you, and it's the 3x3, so you can use both sides. That's honestly the only thing I would change on my rack. That's it. So, don't know why it took me this long to do my rack. It probably should have been the first thing I reviewed, but maybe it was just I felt like everybody knows that Rogue makes good racks, and maybe didn't feel like it was necessary, but that's it. Thanks, guys.